Hey, welcome back. I have pretty much finished the Death Watch stuff, and I was wanting to go on to the Cult Mechanicus, but not right now. Just didn't want to get into the Cult Mechanicus yet. So what I've decided to do is go with my favoritist force, my Inquisition, do some Inquisition. And we're going to go from the Imperial Agents book. Now, all the information that is in the digital Inquisition Codex is viable. Can be used according to GW. But the new information here in the Imperial Agents book is also usable, and this is what, this is what I'm going to go after, or we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss each unit that you can bring, their value, just like we did the Death Watch, some of their quirks, and how they can help in your army, and then in the end go over maybe some viable Inquisition builds. I mean, of course, the most viable is just like single Inquisitor Cotes, like my dude here, with some servo skulls, providing the goodness of the servo skull, which you can do in either way. You can do it in the old Inquisition Codex, which was one Inquisitor, one HQ, which was mandatory, and then 1 to 3 elites, which are the acolytes and stuff, which were optional, and then an optional second HQ. Here in the new one, it's pretty much the same, except the optional second HQ isn't there. The new one is the Inquisitor Representative, mandatory HQ, and 1 to 3 elites that are optional, and each one of the Inquisitors in this detachment gets to keep their Warlord trait. So you can multiple Warlord traits in an army. Pretty cool. Alright, so the two named Inquisitors that are in the book, obviously, before I even start, Inquisitor Cotes, hands down the winner between these two, of who you should take and who you shouldn't take. Inquisitor, how do I pronounce this? Karamazov? Double the cost, 200 points. Now, he's got, Cotes beat as far as he's got strength 5, toughness 5 versus Cotes has 3 in both of those stats. He's got more wounds. He's got an extra wound. Cotes only has 3. Other than that, they're basically the same. Weapon skill, ballistic skills are 4, initiative 4, 3 attacks, 10 leadership, 2+ save. Same. So let's go with Inquisitor Cotes. Just go over him real quick. 100 points. He starts off, or what he has, because you can't really swap any of this stuff out. He has a bolt pistol, a mastercrafted Nemesis Daemon Hammer, psychic grenades, and his Cyber Eagle, which is basically like a bolter. It's 1d6 shots. Let's see if they've changed it in this new one. I haven't looked. Yeah, assault d6, strength 4, no AP, so it doesn't have the AP of a bolter. 24-inch range, and it's assault d6. So 1 through 6 shots. Kind of hit or miss, literally, with that. Might just get 1 shot out of him, might get 6 shots out of him, so you just never know what the Cyber Eagle will spit out of its cyber, wherever it shoots from. Inquisitor Cotes, and this is a big difference between these two Inquisitors. This is a good one. We'll discuss when we get to Karamazov. He is a Psyker, and he can generate his powers from Daemonology, Sanctic only, Deviation, Pyromancy, Telekinesis, and Telepathy. His Warlord trait is Daemon Hunter, which is basically, let me make sure, they're in the back here on 132, one page too far. Yeah, preferred enemy demons. Special role, so fight the demons, that's his thing. Will not come in, his Warlord trait will pretty much not come into play 90% of the games you're playing, unless you got a lot of demon players in your meta. Just won't see it. Just won't see it coming into play. But that's not why we get him. We get him for other reasons. He's an independent character, which means he can join other units. He's a level 2 Psyker. I don't remember if he was level 2 or level 1 before. He might have been level 2. I don't think they changed these at all. So level 2 Psyker, and he's got Stubborn. So it's not fearless, but you know, that 10 leadership is, I mean, 11 or 12. That's all you're going to fail on, 11 or 12. So it's pretty good, pretty good. Now, special rules that make him awesome. Number 1, I've been expecting you. If an enemy unit arrives from reserves within 12 inches of him or his unit, so spread his unit out to get yourself a nice big bubble. And within line of sight of him or his unit, Kodiaz and his unit can immediately make an out-of-sequence shooting attack, which means they can just shoot right now, no matter what turn it is. There is no limit on how many times the ability can be used in a turn. So this is him. We'll use this little paint pot. Here, drop pod comes in. Drop pod, yay! You get to shoot at the drop pod. You get to shoot at the little dudes coming out of the drop pod. Woo! And take them all. Anything. So it's with reserve. So if you've stuck him with a unit that has anti-flyer capability, you've instantly created interceptor within a 12-inch range of that unit. So pretty cool. Get them close to where you believe your opponent's going to want to strike that aircraft, and boom! Take it down, or create a zone where your opponent's really not going to want to put that aircraft if you have a way of knocking it out pretty much as soon as it comes on board. He's good for creating zones of board control with that ability. Areas where you're just basically going to make your opponent think twice about coming in and deep strikes or walking reserves on if you got him on close to your opponent's side of the board. His second ability, because for 100 points, he's got a lot of cool stuff. Lord of Formosa. If a detachment includes Inquisitor Kodiaz, no, I always say Kodiaz. All non-vehicle units in the same detachment have the objective secured special rule. They've changed this. It used to be they were considered scoring, is what it said, because left over from 6th edition. All non-vehicle units in the same detachment have objective secured rule. A unit with this special rule controls objectives even if the enemy scoring units within range. La la la. We all know what objective secured is, right? So this is a kind of incentive to bring some of the acolyte units with him, the 3 elites that you can bring, because it creates some really good cheap objective holding, objective secured units, because acolytes are not that expensive. Let me go see here. They are 12 points for 3, so 4 points apiece. I think that price may be slightly more. I think they used to be 3, didn't they? Might not have been, but yeah. So 4 points apiece, and a minimum unit is 3. So for 12 points, you can stick 3 guys on an objective, in cover, out of sight, and just hold it. You can go for the full, I think 10 is in the unit. Yeah, full 10 in the unit. And still, that's only 40 points. Cheap bargain. Alright, next is his spy network. Kodiaz allows you to re-roll the dice to seize the initiative or force your opponent to re-roll his. This is a good one, especially if you need to go first and you're like me, who has never seized initiative from an opponent and has like been seized on so many times, and it ruins. It's game changer. It is. Anybody who's played through it, you know it's a game changer when you get seized on it. It can really mess up your plans. But he fixes that, because say your opponent rolls at 6, he's got to roll it again to seize that initiative. Not likely. Not likely. Or say you got an opponent that can seize on a 5-up or 4-up. Like some of the Eldar with their trickery and all that stuff. Great great for them. They roll that 4 up, but you can make them roll again, another chance for them not to do it and mess up their plans. Because when they've built an army for those 4 up seizes or whatever they've got, they are planning on that. That's part of their strategy, and if you can break that strategy, that's awesome. So Inquisitor Cortez, pretty much in any army, he is a really good add, because even if you go with the old Inquisitor formation and stuff, and you bring the servo skulls, is a really good way to get some servo skulls in there. I believe it's like 4 points a servo skull, something like that. So 12 points. So 112 points is 3 servo skulls. It's the max they can carry each. Level 2 Psyker, and all of his cool abilities. You're not really worried about the Warlord trait for him, because that's rarely ever going to come into existence. You're not going to be using that Warlord trait, unfortunately. But ignoring that, he is good. If you have a chance to bring him, test him out. He can do some work for your army for sure. Now we're gonna look at Inquisitor Karamazov. Ugh, this guy. Okay, as before I said, he does have a strength and toughness of 5 and 4 wounds. But he's 200 points and he's not Eternal Warrior. At toughness 5, there's not a whole lot that's going to double you out, but there are some things that can. And since his Warlord trait is fixed at Witch Hunter, he doesn't even get a chance at anything else that might be really awesome. So he's just anti-psyker. Witch Hunter is preferred enemy psychers. Yes, preferred enemy psychers. If you're going against a psychic heavy army, that might help a little bit, but not. I mean, he's got to be in a unit with it, and man, he's like a dreadnought, really cool and stuff. But I just see him getting dacked down a lot. I don't have him. I would love to have the model, but I've never had both the cash and the short list of things I want or need to get at the same time so that I could get him. Maybe one day that will occur, and I probably would buy the model and put it together because it's really cool. I love the model. If you've never seen it, it's basically him sitting on a throne with a little big melt on it, and he's got a sword, and he's got like 2 servants there. One just looks like a normal guy, real pale. The other one looks like an armless, kind of messed up face servitor kind of guy. He is his war gear. He has a mastercrafted multi-melta. Awesome, but it's really short range. So he's got a mastercrafted power sword. That's pretty cool too, but again, really short range. Frag grenades, crack grenades, and psych out grenades. So he's got a little bit of everything. And he has an orbital strike relay. What this is basically an orbital strike, and GW in their wisdom. Here we'll go to it's got 3 different profiles. He can either, the range is infinite for any profile. He can either do Barrage Bomb, which is Strength 6, AP 4, Ordnance D3, Large Blast. So up to 3 strikes of this thing. Large Blast, Strength 6, AP 4. Pretty decent for taking out large blobs of horde type creatures. Pretty awesome. Guardsmen, things like that. Boom. If you're dealing with something heavier, he's got Lance Strike, which is Strength 10, AP 1, Heavy 1. Lance Blast, which is pretty cool. So the Lance roll basically drops armor down to 12. And although you wouldn't know it, because they are all orbital, but it doesn't give the rules in this book, what Orbital does, you have to go to the Space Marine book. It's not even in the basic rulebooks, but Orbital basically is, what Orbital is, if you roll a scatter arrow on the scatter dice, it scatters the full thing no matter what your ballistic skill. Could cause issues, could cause issues. And his final one is the Psych Out Bomb. Strength 6, AP 4, Ordnance 1, Large Blast. So nice big blast. Psyshock. So he's really going against the Psychers. And Psyshock basically, I believe that forces a unit to take perils, instant perils is what that does. Make sure, because there are some weapons here have it. If they trying to find where they actually, there it is, here it is. If a unit contains at least one model of Psyker, Brotherhood of Psyker, Psychic Pilot, la la la. Special rules is hit by this weapon. The one randomly determined Psyker model in the unit suffers peril of warp. So, could be bad. Like a unit could get sucked away, or they could turn into the Incredible Hulk. So, 50-50 on, you know, sucked into the warp or Incredible Hulk. The rest are just wounds, which they may be able to avoid. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe if I was like hitting maybe a Librarius Conclave or something that was really nasty and messing with me, that might be useful. But I think I would probably use one of the first two myself. His special rules are independent character and relentless, so that means he can just fire that multi-melta and keep going. And he has, by any means necessary, Inquisitor Karmazov's Orbital Strike Relay. When it's used, you can choose to place a blast marker so its center is over a friendly model rather than the enemy, even if they're locked in combat. So, take a unit of Acolytes, you know, Sacrificial Lamb unit, cheap Acolytes, charge them into your opponent's Death Star, and I hope they survive a round right there, and then just orbital bombard them right in the middle. Just everybody, take them all out. If you do that, it doesn't scatter, so you're going to orbital bombard them. Everybody's probably going to get hit because you're going to choose the guy right there in the center, right? It's going to, so it's a cool way to get that orbital strike to be really accurate and really devastating. You're probably sacrificing your unit because Acolytes are not that tough. And you wouldn't want to put in Crusaders or anything else there. There's just really no point. I mean, you might. And make the saves and all that. And it'd be pretty cool to wipe out your opponent there. And you make all the saves and big old blast. But yeah, that's a pretty cool thing. That is neat. Dread Reputation. Inquisitor Karmazov can always choose to pass or fail his choice, morale and pinning test, as he wishes. Friendly units within 12 inches of him re-roll all failed morale and pinning tests. Don't want to run and he notices you because bad things can happen to you, right? So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's good to keep your armies in line if you have weak morale or leadership on some armies, on some of your units. Not a big thing in Inquisition. I believe most of the Inquisition, let me check the Acolytes, they're going to be the lowest. 8, yeah, 8. Leadership 8 is everything. In the Inquisitors, it's leadership 10. Maybe if you're allying him and his guys in with somebody else, then that would come into play. Guardsmen or something like that. A unit of white shields, use them as your sacrificial lamb. Keep them in line, keep them from running from combat. So charging a unit of guardsmen, white shields into opponent's Death Star. So you got plenty of bodies, you're probably going to survive. But they might run because their morale is low, but boom, he causes them to reroll. So better chance of them sticking. And you blasting everybody. And his last one is Throne of Judgment. This is kind of a negative for him because he's on that giant, basically dreadnought-like body. He can't embark in vehicles or buildings. So, Nemesis' movement speed, because he's moving at 6. Can't really get him very far. Can't drop pod him in. So, limits his use of very, very drastically. So overall, you know, honestly, me being me, I would use him because he's so awesome looking and fluffy and cool, and I put dreadnoughts on the field even though they get shot off right anyway. But to be honest, of the person who might want to be trying to build a more competitive type thing or something like that, if you're gonna go with somebody, there's all the other Inquisitors, even the base Inquisitors, are gonna be a better choice than Inquisitor Karamazov. He's got some cool, neat tricks and stuff, but he's really limited. And I mean, he's 200 points that someone can insta-kill off the board, so that is not ideal. Alright, this has gone on way too long for one of these videos, but I plan on doing something on all the others, and they'll be a little bit shorter. I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We will be talking about more about the Inquisitorials in the next few days, and maybe you can start an Inquisitor army or detachment. They're a really good, fluffy army, and don't be like me, I guess I would say. Or you could be like me and have just an Inquisitor army. Just an Inquisition force. That's supposed that you run separately, but they're more designed to be allies. But as an allied force, they can add a lot to any army that you bring them with, especially Imperial armies. Alrighty guys, you know all the things. Like, comment, hit the subscribe button if you haven't, hit that bell icon if you haven't done that, so get updates on the channel. Share the videos around because that really helps. And other than that, I'll talk to you later.